What's up guys, Adam here, how you all doing? I am back for another video. It's 2 in 2 days guys, I am absolutely smashing it. When I say I'm back, I'm back. Not that it's always been that way in the past, but I am back. Anyway, I did a cool video yesterday on my electric scooter and I'm going to be doing quite a lot of reviews and videos on just cool technology. Not necessarily phones and tablets, although I will obviously continue to do those, but I'm just going to do cool stuff, like man stuff, things we love. Electric scooters, hoverboards, cameras, computers, absolutely everything that is just in that kind of geeky, kind of tech appreciation society. If you haven't seen the video I did yesterday, please do go check it out. I'll leave a link in the video description. It was kind of cool, bit of a teaser really. None of me talking, which you'll be glad to hear. It's just a really fun video about a product that I absolutely love. So check that out. In this video, I'm going to be doing a video not for me, but for you. And it is going to be all about this, my CCTv setup. I said that kind of weird. You guys have been asking me to do a video on this for such a long time, I almost feel bad making it because it has been a very long time. And we're here, we're gonna make this video. So, how do I have my CCTv set up? What products do I use? Why do I use those products? How do I store the footage? All of those questions are gonna be answered in this video. Now, for those of you that have been following me for a long time, you'll know that I've got quite a serious NAS collection. I've got Synology NAS devices and I've got QNAP NAS devices. I tend these days to use QNAP more, and I'll go on to that in a separate video that I'm going to do about storage, that again you've been asking me for a long time. But let me talk about the specific relation of the NAS to the CCTv. Now, when it comes to CCTV, you've got a few options. You can go out and you can buy these kind of battery operated units that have no cables, no nothing. They stick on the wall and they work over Wi-Fi, and whenever there's kind of activity in the zones of the camera's areas that they're looking at, you will get like a notification and maybe you'll get that kind of 30-second, 1-minute clip, whatever it may be. But they're not permanent, they're not full-time, and you're relying on their motion sensing and everything else to be working, Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff, for you to be able to get your notifications and your video footage. Then there's other cameras which do work 24/7, which are cabled, but they're independent from one another, or they are related specifically to an app, and then maybe you get cloud storage or something like that. Now, neither of these two solutions have ever been very appealing to me, and the solution that I go with is a NAS-based solution. NAS means network attached storage, and you can buy little boxes with one drive bay all the way up to like the ones that I've got, and beyond actually, to crazy amounts of disk bays in them. I think the ones that I've got are the TVS 1282T devices. I've got a T and a T3, so a Thunderbolt 2 and a Thunderbolt 3 one. I don't actually use Thunderbolt on them, to be honest. I use 10 gig Ethernet. But you can get them very small, so you don't have to spend huge amounts of money to get this exact same setup that I've got. Now, for a long time I used Synology Surveillance Station, and then I used like the DS Cam app on the iPhone, and it works on Android as well, to be able to remotely view my cameras, to be able to get motion sensing notifications, all that kind of stuff sent to my device. There's some cool stuff built into that product as well, things like the ability to set up GPS, so when you leave the house it puts a certain mode on, and when you come back to the house it puts another mode on, so you're not getting loads of notifications whilst you're in the house of the room that you're in, for example. Home mode, I believe it's called. And then QNAP actually do a very similar product. I believe it's called Surveillance Station as well. I wonder if it's just like a generic thing that they license, I'm not too sure, but they both have it. Now, over the last couple of years, QNAP have really pushed on in this department, and they've brought out a product called QVR Pro. Now, QVR Pro is a huge step up from the basic surveillance station type platforms that are built into these NAS devices that tend to be give you a few licenses for free, and then you have to go out and kind of buy some more. Whereas the QVR Pro is way more advanced than that. You can do some extremely cool things with it. I can't go into them all today, but if you go to the QNAP website, I'll leave a link in the video description. This is nothing to do with them, by the way. They've not asked me to do this video or anything like that. You can check all of those features out, but it is vast. Now, the reason that I went for the QVR Pro option was a couple of reasons. It isn't necessarily that I use all of that functionality that it gives you over and above the surveillance station. It was more to do with some more basic things. Number one, and I know this sounds like an odd thing, you guys know I always have my CCTv running up here, and that is running on my Mac. You can obviously have it running on Windows as well if you'd like to. I believe they do Linux as well. And it takes up, when you use the Synology app, significant amounts of CPU, like significant. And if you've got, like I had for a long time, a Mac Mini, it sits there with the fans on all the time because it is just using constant CPU. With the Mac Pro now, it doesn't really affect it. It doesn't even make a bleep, no matter how much you put through it. But back when I was using the Mac Mini, it was quite a big deal for this noise to constantly be going off in the background, which was the fan, due to only CCTV. Now QVR Pro, and this is actually an advertised feature of it, the application itself uses significantly less CPU than any other CCTV browsing solution that I've seen on the market over the last few years. Right now on this one, I've got something like 16 streams. I've actually got 24 in total, believe it or not, but I've cut some out. And it is using what on the Mac says about 60% CPU. Now that's not 60% of all the CPUs, but for those of you that have got a Mac, you'll understand what I mean. It's a very, very small amount. It also has GPU acceleration as well, so you can actually pass some of that off to the GPUs. You can do that in the basic surveillance stations as well, but it works significantly better on here. Another reason that I chose QVR Pro over the other ones is because of the efficiency and quality of the streaming to my phone when I'm on higher latency, lower bandwidth networks, i.e. 4G for example, and you're outside the house or you're not on great Wi-Fi. The quality of the streams is sensational, even over high latency and low bandwidth connections. You obviously need a certain amount of bandwidth to even be able to see it, but I'm talking about just the lower echelons of bandwidth. You still get a great user experience. They do so many regular updates to it. It's constantly being enhanced, and I just love it. It's got incredible features. Like I say, go check them out. It's just a fantastic product, and I'm really over the moon with it. I prefer it so much over the surveillance station products that actually QNAP and Synology offer. This one, although more expensive and you have to buy the licenses per camera, it's just a way better option, and it works incredibly. But don't let this put you off using the cheaper or even free versions of surveillance station built into the QNAP or into the Synology devices. They are great. It's just those two niggly little issues that drove me kind of mad, that I feel it was worth investing more into the product. Now, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I do use on there as well. It's just so much to go into. We can make this video about 3 hours long. But those were my kind of main reasons for choosing QVR Pro over the other ones. I love the interface. It's an absolutely spectacular interface. Again, it's got enhancements over the basic Synology surveillance station and the QNAP surveillance station. So check them all out. Have a look at the different offerings. Maybe those surveillance station ones are completely fine with you. You don't want to have this CCTV app running all the time, taking up CPU, all that kind of stuff. Or maybe you've got a dedicated device, you want to chuck it on a TV or something like that, and you don't really care about the CPU usage. All these different things, you've obviously got to kind of look into yourself and work out what you want to do. Now, on the NAS side of things, you can determine how long you store your footage for. I actually store my data 24/7, so all 24 cameras running 24/7, and I allocate like a certain number of terabytes to that storage, and it literally just then writes over the ones that are older. I've actually got well over a year's worth of footage of everything that's going on in my house, and indeed my work properties as well, which also remotely hook into this, but that's another story. And it just works flawlessly, absolutely flawlessly. I love the fact that I can go back to a specific time and just pick something up, for example. I've had situations before where I've lost things and I've tracked back like several days and traced my movements around and actually managed to find them again. So there are lots and lots of different uses. Now, obviously the big one is security. Now, the great thing about this is you can do what I do, which is essentially have it right to my local box and then synchronize off over the web to another box in another data center that I've got. And because I've got gigabit WAN here and they've got gigabit WAN as well, it's constantly up to date. So even if someone came in and stole every last bit of equipment that I had, I would still have that footage. Now, obviously that's extremely excessive. I've done it more for the fact that it's just a cool geeky thing to do than I have for security reasons, but it's still a cool thing that you can do and know that you can do as well. Now let's get on to cameras. I only use one brand of camera. Again, they've never sent me a camera for free or anything like that, so I'm not pitching any kind of products. I shouldn't really have to say that, but I'm not. And that is Foscam. Now, I am sure that there are better products out there than Foscam, but because I started with that brand and they've worked for me, I've just continued all the way through and I've used them all over the place. And now every single camera that I use is Foscam. However, the surveillance station products and QVR Pro, they're compatible with pretty much any IP camera out there. A lot of them have generic codecs and generic connections that you can use. I think there's one called ONVIF that they all support, ONVIF. So basically any IP camera you can use with your CCTV, no problem whatsoever. But I like the Foscams. My favourite ones are the R2s, which I've actually got sitting behind me in my office. It's just a little white unit. I'll do some B-roll so you can see it. And it's got full kind of, I don't know, not 360 degree, but it's got a lot of movement in it. For the outdoor ones, I've got ones that literally stick to the roof. They've got like little glass domes, and again, you can move them around. Now in the program, you can set up the ability for them to patrol. So you can have them going back and forwards if you want to, constantly, all day long. You can set them on schedules. You can set zones for the motion detection. They're so configurable, it's unbelievable. And this is, again, not just the Foscam ones. This is pretty much any IP camera that you'd like to use. Now, again, with the Foscam ones, another reason I kind of stick to them is because when you're setting them up, you need to download the app from the manufacturer. And rather than have all these extra apps on my phone, just to be able to set up a device, even though you might only do it once every so often, was just a pain in the backside. So I chose to stick with the one brand, and I would recommend you guys do the same and just carry on using them. Now, like I say, there's loads and loads of cheap IP cameras that you can get on Amazon, and there's the more expensive ones. And I think Foscam sit into the bracket of the kind of more expensive ones. I probably doubt there's that much of an advantage paying more for them. Maybe they're more reliable, maybe the picture quality is better, but those are the kind of things you'd need to kind of look at reviews for and check the Amazon reviews and all that kind of stuff. But I would highly recommend Foscam. A lot of what they do from an interface point of view is very much out of date, but once you've set them up, they do just work, and they've been extremely reliable for me. Touch wood, I've never had one break to date. No doubt several of them are going to fail on me now, but even the ones that I've got outside, and I've literally got one just up here outside that sits in the most terrible of weather, and it gets very windy out here because it's completely open. I've never had any problems with it whatsoever. So definitely recommend the Foscams. Look at the QVR Pro on the QNAP. Be careful about the drives that you select when you're setting up a NAS. For the last few years, I've moved over to Seagate, and I've been very, very happy with their drives. I started to get problems with other manufacturers, and I've sort of stepped away from them, and I've found Seagate really do offer up the reliability that I want. And because you've got this constant recording going on, these little blips of data reads and data writes 24/7, you definitely want to make sure that you pick good drives to go inside your NAS device. So that's my CCTV setup. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a hell of a lot of me talking, but with cameras and stuff, there's not really a huge deal that I can show you other than what they look like. You guys have all seen my NAS devices before. I will have chucked some B-roll in over the top so you get to see them again, but it's really more of an explanation about what I use, why I use it, how I made my choices, and some of the pros and cons of doing that. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see information that I haven't put in this video, let me know and I'll do a follow-up video, and I'll try and include maybe some more detailed information about a specific thing if you guys want. But remember, these videos can't be 2 hours long, so do that, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace. Stay safe. Black Lives Matter.